It's the 9-year anniversary of Charlie Shrem's arrest when Bitcoin was worth around $1,200 and regulators were cracking down on this mysterious magic internet money. Joining us now with more is Bitcoin Foundation and BitInstant founder Charlie Shrem, now the host of the Charlie Shrem Show. Charlie, great to see you. So good to see you. I heard your last podcast and you opened it up saying that you arrested January 26, 2014, kicking off a 7-year legal battle through the criminal justice system and landing 2 years in jail for aiding and abetting the transition of $1 million worth of Bitcoin to the Silk Road marketplace. But you say there are parallels between then and now. What are they?
It seems like now there's a lot more reactionary happening from shots fired from different, regulatory bodies or enforcement around the world. But at the same time, it's not coming from a place of fear, and it's not coming from a place of like, oh, hey, we don't really know what's going on. It seems like it's coming from a place of, hey, we really see that crypto and Bitcoin is growing and that the whole industry is changing. But we need to make sure to let the whole industry know that, hey, we're still here and we're watching over you.
So what are the lessons, would you say, since you've seen so many cycles going through this, what are the lessons to be learned right now?
It's always about a balance, I've learned. At the end of the day, we have to strike a balance between what we can do and maintain decentralization with Bitcoin and crypto, what we do in crypto land and how we grow that, what we do with the developer activity in the Bitcoin world and all the growth that we have there, all the developer activity and everything that we do. But at the same time, there are entities in our industry that are going to have to work with regulators and with governments, and we're going to have to be able to work in harmony together. But I guess on the other side, the Bitcoin and crypto industry, not included Sam Bankman-Fried, but everyone else, has asked the government over the last year or two, come meet us halfway. We'll come to DC. We have good faith that this is what we're doing. This is how we're doing it. These who our customers are. Everyone other than what FTX was doing, kind of like he was more of like a carpet bombing situation, donate to every politician and try to get Bitcoin and crypto to be the best thing in the world. That wasn't the right way to do it. This is not a rush. This is not a race. This is going to be a multi-decade growth, Bitcoin and crypto. And so there's definitely a lot of fear. It's still scary. I was watching the segment earlier and I agree with everything that Joey said, but I'm very hesitant at the same time to say things have bottomed out because there's still so much regulatory clarity that we still don't see. 80% of projects that have raised money, or it's like 60 to 80 in the last year in crypto, haven't done anything. Bitcoin, there's so much growth. Bitcoin, if anything, right now is going through a huge revival. Culture is seeing a huge uptick. Developer activity is seeing a huge uptick. People are really excited again because crypto got connected to the traditional finance industry at the hip. And so as the macro world went kind of down, crypto was attached to that. Regulations, people putting money in, all the institutional capital, everything was connected at the hip. But Bitcoin existed before and will exist after. So it kind of is doing its own thing now.
Definitely want to get into all the FTX news in a second. But first, you mentioned developer activity. Ordinals is the talk of the town right now. Some people love it, some people hate it. So we're nevertheless seeing the Bitcoin network activity spiking to a 2-year high, according to CryptoQuant. What are your thoughts on NFTs on Bitcoin?
There's always been this holy grail of we want to do on Bitcoin what all these other blockchains can do. All these other blockchains that have launched, even since the experimental version of Ethereum on day one, which was attempted to be launched on top of Bitcoin. But with cryptocurrencies and blockchains, there's a lot of breaking. And Bitcoin never wanted to risk something happening on the main layer of it. So it was let's scale smart and slow. But as we're seeing over the last year, right, people want to do these things. We want to have fun. We want to be able to do NFTs. We want to be able to have decentralized applications, insurance products. We want to do things with our Bitcoin, not just sock them away in some cold storage address somewhere. But developers and folks who are holding on to Bitcoin for a long time, And everyone, including you and I, we have to remember that we got into this from decentralization. And we got into this because we wanted to build assets, not just money, but things that represent maybe our houses and stuff. We want those to be out of the power of any single one person or any centralized entity that could come in and take everything that we've saved and done. Whether it's like a corrupt organization or whatever it is, or, it doesn't matter. We need to be able to have our assets sovereignty in our, if we move too fast and if we try to do too many things and we break Bitcoin, then it's all over. So Bitcoin has always had to be slow. So there's this like struggle, right? We want what everyone else has, but if we do it too fast, then it won't work. So what's happening now with ordinals is that folks are putting the actual data on the Bitcoin blockchain. And that's making a lot of people a little bit angry, because as the Bitcoin blockchain grows, you lose the ability for millions of people around the world to run it in real time. It's the same argument we had with the Bitcoin block size wars back in 2016. If you make the blocks bigger and allow more data in, less people will run it and it'll become more centralized. And so there's like a very difficult balance that developers have to figure out a way to like make this possible, but also make Bitcoin continuously be nimble and agile and can run fast.
Okay, sounds like you're kind of waiting and see how this plays out on the NFT and ordinals front. Okay, so the latest FTX news we have is that the former dean of Stanford Law School, Larry Kramer, and current Stanford research scientist Andreas Pepke are the two co-signers to FTX's Sam Bankman-Fried's $250 million bail bond, in addition to his parents. I just wanted to get your thoughts on, your reaction to that latest news.
Remembering my own personal story, it was a very different situation. We had no money of individual customers that were lost or anything. My parents also had signed my bond, and I was able to live in their basement. And they told me that if I could find someone to replace my parents, maybe I was thinking, like, if I could find someone to replace my parents, maybe I could move out of their basement. But no one would sign for me. I mean, I wouldn't sign for me. I can't believe you got Stanford professors. I just can't believe it. I'm sorry. I'm so surprised.
Do you have any advice for Sam going through his own legal battle through the justice system?
Stop talking. Keep your mouth shut. Get onto the radar, because the judge reads everything. They watch everything. The clerks, if they have Google alerts, they tell the judge every time your name is mentioned in the press, Sam, they know. And when you don't, you have to respect the justice system. You have to respect the courts. You have to. My lawyer drilled that into my head the first day. You have to respect the courts. If you respect the courts, they'll respect you back. But right now, he's not showing any respect to the courts.
If he were to land in jail, do you think he'll land in jail? And if so, what kind of advice would you give to him there?
I would never, ever, ever wish it on anyone, including my worst enemy. It's the worst experience anyone could ever go through. Unfortunately, if he does find himself during that path, then I hope to help him and prepare him for the inside, which I'll end up inevitably probably doing, because when people nowadays are finding themselves about to enter, I try to help them, like prepare them. You ever see that Kevin Hart movie? It's not as bad as that, but there's preparation that you need to know in advance.
All right. Fortunately, we're out of time, Charlie, but really interesting. Great to catch up with you, however brief it is. All right, that was Charlie Shrem. He's the host of the Charlie Shrem Show.